What is up, everyone? Welcome to round 7, the finals of the Portland Monthly Premodern Paper Magic Afternoons June 2024 tournament. Without further ado, let's see who's competing for the crown. First up, we have Alec returning to camera and also returning to the finals for the second time ever for the Portland Monthly Premodern tournament. He is playing his own version of Terrageddon. We talked about this a couple times in the past, so make sure to check out past videos, but this deck is a little bit unique in that it is splashing blue for Meddling Mage. Other than that, it's a pretty standard list. He does have some fun tech where he has oaths in the side to side out all his small creatures in creature-based matchups to only find the Terravores, which is pretty smart. And yeah, it's been doing really well for him. We'll see if it can take him to his second Premodern title ever. But before he can claim that crown, he's gonna have to make it through Andrew's Survival Madness Rug list. This is the best of both worlds. You're playing Madness with your Wild Mongrels and Blazing Root Wallas and Arrogant Worms, but you also have Survival of Fittest in there doing Survival of Fittest things with toolbox creatures, and also just the extra value of you get to discard all the stuff you want to discard anyways. The deck also runs some Cave-ins and Pyrokinesis in the side as a little extra tech. Obviously, with just the 2 City Brasses, you're not looking to really play those out. You're more than likely exiling either a duplicate or a squee from your hand to cast, but is some cool tech nonetheless. All right, we've looked at the deck list. Let's get to the finals. Okay, we have Alec on the left, Andrew on the right. Both players wanting a few different things out of this matchup. Ooh, Alec having a Terror right off the bat. Andrew definitely can go more mid-range, but Madness is more of a tempo deck. You definitely have the smaller creatures you want to get down early to put pressure on the board and have counter magic to hold things up in the late game. And we are off. Both players keeping 7. Andrew just starting off with Island and Pass. Alec Forest and Passed. And we're just going land, go. Alec gonna search here for, I'm assuming, a Plains. Does have a library in hand, which looks like that's what's going to be played right into the counter magic of Andrew. Just a little daze. Hard cast this time. And to keep things moving, we'll just pass while Alex shuffles. Finally, a source of green for Andrew. Does he have anything to do with it? He does not. He is passing very slow controlling hand from Andrew in this matchup. There's a Wasteland. Not a ton of non-basics in Andrew's deck, just the City Brasses and I think the Yavimaya Coast. And how about a second library? Alright, we're going to Frantic Search here. Draw, untap, discard. And we did hit a worm. That is a threat. He's going to pitch the Yavimaya Coast. Obviously, that Wasteland, don't want to have too big of a target on his back. And just going to swing in. Now, there's a certain point where having too many lands is going to be a problem. Hey, there's a Survival of Fittest. Alec does have Armageddons in the deck and a Cataclysm. So once he gets to that 4 mana, you do have to be concerned.
I think that's where this is going. Playing Armageddon when you have 4/4 is not what I want to do. Right, good point. If you had no creatures, yeah, I'd
But it doesn't look like he has an Armageddon right now. And is not going to be playing it out either. I think we're getting a Terravore first. No, we're getting a Call the Herd. Alright, make it 3/3 Elephant, or in this case, Dinosaur. And it's going to pass. Alright, let's find some cards. Discarding 1, probably just gonna, or 2, sorry. Discarding another Careful Study and a land. I'm not sure what's in Andrew's hand besides lands at this point. He does seem like he's a little flooded. Is still able to push damage through. That Call to Hurt gets flashback. He'll have to be a little more concerned. Alright, land coming down. Yep, flashback Call to Hurt. Get another elephant.
I'm gonna cast Frantic Search and Response.
Alright, we're gonna Frantic Search here. Did find another worm. We'll be able to cast it. Is that what you want to do, though? Yes. Alright. Another worm coming down. You get your 3/3 elephant.
You always get my hopes up by discarding, like, the meaningless card first. They're like, oh, you discarded a land. There must
And I believe Alec was passing after that.
pass.
Okay, well, Andrew doing a good job of keeping one step ahead. That's a gush, which could be pretty relevant. Now, he can swing into both of these. Alec will double block. He'll have to lose one of the worms. But still pushing damage through. You're definitely the beatdown right now. You need to be getting going. Makes sense. Yeah, one of those still is alive. Alright, then we got a Wild Mongrel. The hits keep coming and they don't stop coming. Notably, not pitching anything to the survival. Hasn't found a squee yet either.
Yeah, because they were otherwise very boring sets.
And let's see what Alec wants to do here. Are we going to see a Terravor? It's not going to be a huge Terravor, but it'll still be bigger than the worms, I think. Alright, we're going to gush here. Digging for some counters. Did not find it, I don't think. Found a Tradewind Rider, though. Alright, that will resolve. How big is that boy? A Terravor is at least a 5/5, I think. No, 4. Okay. Alright, and then go to Andrew's turn. Lots of lands in hand. Could definitely swing that Wild Mongrel in without fear of repercussion, even if Alec were to Terravor his own land, just to, or wasteland his own land, sorry, just to bump that Terravor up. Nope, instead we're gonna see a little bit of bouncy time. Won't be able to do that yet, or maybe not. Oh, okay, we're cycling a land here. I thought we were gonna see a swords, and Andrew just passing. So that cycle was on end step. Yep, that Terravor is now 5/5. Trying to decide what he wants off of this library. He's at 7, which is very risky. Andrew's still sitting at a full 20. I'm not sure what he's debating about for order here. I've mostly just seen some lands. Is that another... There's a green card in the back, so the 2 lands... Oh, Werebear. Okay, I think that was a Werebear. Floating 5. What's Armageddon? Do you have a daze? Or some kind of hard counter? Nope, gonna float a blue. And that Terravor is going to be massive. It's gonna be a huge problem. Alright, we're looking at a 13-13 Terravor. Play it on Unscored Paradise. Use that floating for the Werebear. Go to combat. Swing in for 13. That is a bit of a risky attack. I think, yeah, Andrew is just going to take it all. And is going to try and win here on the crackback. That is Baskin Rootwalla.
Okay. Forest is actually what I should have done last turn. Discard Rootwalla to survival. Grab Wonder.
Okay, what are we grabbing here? What win con can we pull from the deck? Wonder? No, he doesn't have an island. That is so close, but it's not going to do it, unfortunately. If he had an island, it would be game over, but I don't think he's got a way to withstand the Terravors, so I think this is just game over, and yeah, Alec takes it down. Okay, that was really cool. That was so close. If that had just been an island, obviously he wouldn't have been able to survival for it, but still, that would have been pretty amazing. As it stands, though, Alec is up a game. The championship just needs one more to win his second Premodern Monthly title. His first one, I think, came off of a survival deck, actually. So very familiar with what Andrew's got going on. Even though it's a different class deck.
Not unless your hand is light.
6 lands in the survival.
Looks like Alec is shuffling it back. Gonna look for a better 6 here. Andrew keeping a 7.
You just play one Wild Mongrel and run me over. Wild Mongrel is real MVP.
I haven't yet got to do that where it's just like 4 swing at a time.
Alright, hopefully we get a playable 6.
You don't even need to do that. Just like discarding one card a turn, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep and I'm gonna put.
Looks like we are keeping.
Okay, ready? Open plays Treetop.
And we're off. Andrew's gonna play out of Treetop Village and pass.
Brushland pass.
Does a brush land go? I do see another survival. Are we planning that out? No, we're getting the beats in early. The Wild Mongrel. And that's gonna get swords. Risky swords. That is exiled.
Actually, I'll discard a squeak.
Sounds good. So you gain.
Oh, discarding. Okay, discarding the squeed to the Wild Mongrel. Just to get a bit more life. Get it back next turn anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Unless, of course, Alec brought in Graveyard Hate. Which I don't think he would. Gonna crack this.
Yeah. They are the cheapest.
Fetch, just admiring the new art. That's some MH3 art.
Sets of all the Tarkir ones.
Reprinting the Onslaught fetches, making it way more affordable to get fetch lands is always a good plan, especially when you can pick up, you know, the sweet retro borders being shown there. I've been picking up some of the foils because it is way more affordable now to get old border foils of the Onslaught fetches. Don't know if I'll ever actually own a single true Onslaught foil fetch, let alone a playset, but now with MH3 I can bling out my decks a little bit more. know a lot of other people are doing so as well. All right, playing out a Mox. And how about a turn 2 Terravore?
Terravor's a 2/2.
Just a 2/2 right now.
One tap. Draw.
Also, I'm not sure it's going to be relevant, but that Wild Mongrel is exiled.
Forest. Survival. God, I forgot this.
All right, Survival of the Fittest is online. And I think Andrew forgot to return his Squee.
Nuke your yard.
No.
Oop. Hitting that Tormod's Crypt, that Terravore is dead. When no one has lands in the graveyard, it
Go ahead.
does not stick around very long. Tarmogoyf, it is not.
Call the herd.
Good.
Alright, well, at least we can get out a threat. There's a 3/3.
Let's
And Wasteland the Treetop.
pass to you.
Say go.
Upkeep. There we go.
Alright, Andrew remembering the Squee trigger and drawing another Squee. Well, you can get 2 survival triggers now.
Press. Discard a squeeze.
Okay, gonna discard 1. Probably just grab a Root Wall, right? Nope. Okay, we're getting a Wild Mongrel.
Play a mongrel, take a damage.
Gonna play it out, take a point.
My turn.
It is.
There's definitely something to be said for pitching the Root Walla next, getting another Root Walla.
2 cards in hand.
But maybe he has a couple in hand that he's planning on pitching to the Mongrel too. Also, that island is still tapped.
Check with 3.
It was used to pay for the Mongrel. Alright, swing it in, forcing a potential trade. Or just make the Wild Mongrel big enough that it won't matter. Having 2 Squeeze in hand means, theoretically, ooh, there's another Terravore. Theoretically, that Wild Mongrel is now a 4/4 every turn. That Terravore is just a little 2/2.
Squeeze. Draw the card.
Not going to be doing much right now, but who knows? Maybe there's a land and an Armageddon on top for Alec.
Tapped out, right?
Yeah.
And Andrew playing out more lands. A little risky, but you do want to have at least a couple activations for Survival of the Fittest.
Back for 2.
Opting to push through damage here.
Discard a squeeze.
Yep. Take 3.
Yep.
Preemptively discarding a Squee. Or are we doing no, we are doing a survival trigger. Are we doing a damage trigger for Wild Mongrel and then a survival trigger? Okay.
Play the bouncer, take a damage.
Get the bouncer,
My turn.
Yep.
play it out.
Cycle.
Okay. 3/3 now.
Alec gonna cycle a land here, make that Terravore a little bigger. Plays out a Gemstone Mine.
Take it.
And swinging in for 3. And how about another 3/3 Terravore?
Pass to you.
You're being very problematic.
I think 1's bad, 2 is pretty awful.
If you can't figure out a way
Okay,
to listen to
don't forget your Squeeze.
Untap,
Good.
upkeep.
And a Forest. Now, you can play out the Forest just so you have a free survival trigger. Or do you try and push through more damage here? You're not winning the long game, more than likely, against Terravores. You do have the bouncer, so you can stall a little bit.
Tap.
No blocks.
And no, we're just pushing aggro. I don't think there's a world here where Alec does block. Alright, discarding 1 Squee to the Mongrel.
Okay. Second main.
Still has a squee up, still has a land up. I think you just go get a root wall, right? Pitch the other squeeze, start getting some creatures, some threats, some value, some blockers. I mean, they're not great blockers, but they are still blockers. And I guess you can do that at instant speed, but... Oop. Get a little too excited over there. Alright, we got 6 power on the board for Alec. If you do an Armageddon, it's game over. But because he did not slam it down, I'm willing to bet it's not. Interesting. Alright, we're going to activate survival here. Grab a worm. Now, you should pitch survival to the bouncer here, right? Yes, okay. Or not pitch survival, pitch the worm. Bounce the not attacking Terravor. Or the attacking one. Oh, okay, that worms does get swords, so that was probably the right call. Should be with the WoW Mongrel from early on.
That's right, because this gets through. Never mind.
And just play out the Terravor again. Andrew correctly reading, I think, that Alec has swords in play, or in hand. I would have done the greedy approach and tried to block the Terravor while bouncing the other one. Max value. Well, if you're going to be pushing damage, you should push damage, right? Swing with the Wild Mongrel. Trying to get him down low enough where you can go get a Wonder this time, because you do have an island, and get the last little bit in lethal. Even with the 2 discards, it's still 3 turn clock at the quickest. Okay, what are we grabbing? Oh, we are grabbing the Wonder. Okay. And grab the Wonder. Pitch it. Go find something else. Find a worm. Alright, well, now his creatures have flying. So that Mongrel can just get in for free. But I have to imagine the worm's getting pitched. Put up a decent blocker. No reason to do it as a surprise. Oh, there's also a squee. He's also thinking about the second Mongrel in hand. I don't think it's worth it. Maybe considering it though, just to hold up the waterfront bouncer. I think that might be what he's considering. Alright, no, we're just going in to the red zone. And then playing out the Wild Mongrel. Okay, next turn, potentially we'll have lethal.
Then I'm done. Your last use here. So 4/4s now.
Naturalizing the survival.
Okay, we can let they can go.
Does make the Terravors bigger too. That's the last counter on Gemstone.
Okay.
getting in the red zone, swinging with both.
I'm going to pay a lot.
Gonna take a point to bounce one of those Terravors.
Bounce that. 4 gets
Just take 4.
So you take 5 total.
So a point for the damage, and then,
easier.
yep. And say go.
Tap, upkeep.
Alright, not forgetting the squee. So 4 in hand,
You attack with everything, discard all your life. You attack with everything.
4 on the board, 8.
Exactly.
Plus the water from bouncer, that's 9. Yep, we're going to game number 3.
For the math one.
That's what I like to see in a finals, going to game 3. Both players showing why they made it this far.
Lands and spells. Lands and spells.
Ooh, and we're seeing a little bit of that sideboard tech from Alec. Has an Oath
Yeah, I'm going to keep this too.
and an Armageddon. So we know we will never actually see the meddling mages played on camera. The spiciest tech in Alec's deck, and it will never see the light of day. I am very curious if it actually ended up being good in any of the matchups he did end up playing in off camera.
Coast. Take 1.
All right, we got a Basking Root Wall, a hard cast.
Take 1.
Yep.
Alec gonna fetch. We got a swords. Not the best swords target, but it'd be funny. Is that 3 Treva's runes? That's not what you want to see. That's a little rough. But we got 2 mana here for the Oath. Safe to play it. No way to daze it. Does Andrew have a Naturalize in hand? Does not look like it.
Here. Of course, I know
And that's going to be a problem. Granted,
actually interesting thing.
it's only going to be a 1-1.
Like, werebears, would you take those out? I'm thinking about it. Like, that
Calls
feels,
into werebears. That's the.
that feels like that's kind of a weak line. But we'll see.
And I think...
Tap, draw.
Oh, I guess Andrew could have foil. Was he considering foiling it? I don't see a foil, though. He does have a counterspell, and now has counterspell mana up.
Tap for 1. Yep.
Alright, we're gonna get in the red zone. Take 1.
Damage. Alright, I'm at 16.
Yep. Go ahead.
Upkeep trigger.
Oh, pumping it. I see. Not holding up counterspells. Alright. Little bit of glare here on the flip, but the only target is a Terravor.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Very interesting to pump the Root Walla instead of holding up counter magic. Maybe thinking there's not anything great that Alec's going to do on turn 2, and is right, so that was the right call. Alright, there's a survival. Are we going to see it? Probably not this turn.
Go ahead.
Turn 4 is definitely the pivotal turn for Terravor, where you don't want to tap out because they can hit their Armageddon. They could also hit as early as turn 3 if they have a Mox.
Attack for 7.
Take 7.
Alright, we're getting in for 7.
Okay, rush it on 4.
Shot and port, go.
Pass the turn.
Cards in hand.
1, 2,
Oath and Terravor, what a combo.
keep on the port.
Who would have known? Alright, we're tapping down the multicolor source. There's a frantic search. And Andrew really needing a bounce effect or something. some way to deal with this Terror War, even if it's only temporarily. Alright. Untapping the lands. Gonna have to discard 2. Probably just the worm and the squee. Worm's not big enough to do anything yet. Maybe if he can get 2 or 3 together. Although Alec then does just get another Oath trigger, which would be very bad. I don't think you want that to trigger again.
So that's a 7.
This is also the first time that Andrew's seen Oath, so he may not have known to put in any sort of naturalized effects in his deck. So he may not have a good out here.
Okay, discard 2 squeeze.
Okay.
Alright, yes, we're just discarding the 2 squeeze. Can't play any creatures right now.
Or did I play that?
Yeah, you have
Yeah, I played this then. Good, go.
And maybe wishing he had untapped the Treetop Village instead. There's another Armageddon. Well, that's definitely going to be attempted, I think. You have 2 in hand. Might as well go for it.
attack for 7.
No, we're swinging in first. Interesting. Just in case there's a combat trick, go to 4. I don't know what combat trick there would be, but I have to imagine he's slamming it. Come on, Alec, do it. You know you want to. I mean, he is walking into a counter spell. We know that that's the thing, but he's got 2. I mean, it's the namesake of the deck, right? He's already got the Terravor. Now he's got a Geddon. No? Avoiding temptation. Is just going to play out another Terravor. Playing it safe. I like it. It makes sense. I mean, this Terravor is probably going to eat the counterspell. I can't imagine it doesn't. 1 is already really tough for Andrew to deal with, so 2 is going to be kind of impossible. It has to get countered. There's no way this resolves. If it does resolve, that's pretty much game over. Unless there's not a counterspell in Andrew's hand. I could have sworn I saw one. I don't think he'd be thinking this hard. It resolves. All right. Pass turn. What do you got, Andrew? Not much. That's gonna be it. Alec takes the championship in 3. Good job to both players. That was some great magic. Good to see both decks doing the thing that they do so well. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Really helps the channel out. And honestly, if you want to support the channel even more, there is a Patreon link in the video description below. That money goes towards gear upgrades, travel expenses, and just making more pre-modern videos. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.